Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend from the CTOadvisor.com. And we're Friday, what is it, August 22nd, 23rd. I'm a little bit punch drunk. This is the Friday before VMworld. So obviously, the CTO Daily Dose is going to be about VMworld. Just came off a great conversation with Brian Gracely, Stu Miniman, my guest, I guess, or no, my not guest. He's my host at me co-hosting theCUBE. Stu invited me to my first CUBE appearance at last year's VMworld. It was overwhelming to interview over and over and over again executives from the industry at large, the ecosystem. I got my feet a little bit under me at Dell EMC World, but this is still, you have to get an appreciation for how big the CUBE is. About 60 or 70 interviews across two sets. VMworld is a huge show. And that's what I want to talk to you about a little bit today. And that is the relevance of VMware. I wrote a post over on the CTOadvisor.com talking about VMware, their position in the industry, and whether or not they're still relevant. So let's tackle the elephant in the room right away. VMware, absolutely beyond relevant. I fully expect there to be still more than 20,000 people appearing in this show in Las Vegas. Practitioners, executives, people throughout the industry, HCI vendors. Now I guess the running joke, instead of VMworld being called a storage show, we can call it a HCI show. But I expect to see people trying to solve problems that exist in the data center and enterprise IT still at this conference. VMware wields a really, really powerful set of tools. Look no further than their double-digit growth from, they just released, I think, their performance, their stock and quarterly performance yesterday. VMware is still a money-making machine for Dell EMC, Michael Dell, and the rest of the VMware investors. So what does this mean from a technology perspective? We're still challenged with the digital transformation or digital disruption. A lot of my questions on theCUBE this week will be around digital disruption. How does VMware not only help me optimize what I have in my data center? So if you look at vSAN, NSX, vRealize Suite, that's all about optimizing what I have in my data center today. Traditional layer 2 networks, physical servers with abstracted storage and software-defined storage. Software enabling my data center is one thing. However, integration with cloud native. I need to understand how that big R&D or content management project that my business is running in AWS, Google Compute, or Azure, how does that integrate with my back-end systems? If this data is touching data from systems of record like SAP, Oracle, business suite of apps, how do I run IT at two different speeds and allow my existing tools and processes to integrate well with this digitally disrupted part of the business? VMware, and let's give VMware some credit. They have teamed up quite a bit with Pivotal, and the rest of the enterprise IT vendors, when I look at Cisco, Dell EMC proper, HPE, IBM, they all still struggle with this message of how does this legacy set of IT vendors help us keep the existing strategy. We did the whole 80% of our spend is spent on traditional IT and 20% on innovation, and not all of that innovation is digital disruption or around digital transformation. How do those vendors help us? Or is it time to start looking at other vendors? I don't think VMware or any other vendor has another year to punt this question down the road. I think VMware really needs to tackle this whole digital transformation They are a software company. They need to tackle the digital transformation head on this year. I don't want to go into next year asking the same question of how does VMware help me with the digital transformation. So that's what a lot of my conversation this week on theCUBE will be. The CTO advisor outside of theCUBE is really busy. We have the podcast booth booked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 10 to 11, 11:30. We'll have Druva. We'll have Matt Broberg. We're trying to get Amy Lewis to reunite with Matt for we call it the Spear, where we are the noise. We're just bringing the silliness and the camaraderie that is the VMworld conference to you, hopefully live. We'll do the whole Mevo camera setup. So the CTO Daily Doses, we'll have those in person, interviewing folks on the field. Stay tuned. If you don't want to miss any CTO Advisor content during this week, I highly recommend that you sign up for or subscribe to our content. You can now go to thectoadvisor.com. There's a subscription tab where you can subscribe to the Daily Dose via email, or you can subscribe to the blog post. And of course, you can always go to the podcast and find us in your favorite podcaster for the traditional podcast, in which this week we talked to Rubrik's chief technologist, Chris Wall, about how Rubrik and this concept of secondary storage and data protection is not just about backups, but about using the cloud to extend your IP around the data that you've collected in archives in order to create some really interesting applications. So check us out, thectoadvisor.com. Talk to you guys next CTO Daily Dose, which will most definitely probably be Sunday from the show. Talk to you guys soon.